Now suppose this is our S plane and two poles are located, one is at 0 and another is at -2. So the root locus which starts from 0 terminates at infinity, whether it will go towards left or right, that is determined by this section analysis. Suppose we are taking this section. That means for this section the number of poles plus 0 to the right of this section is only 1. It will take into account only 1. The number is odd. That is why this is the section of the root locus, and so the root locus must go in this direction. For this pole, we are taking this section. Now to the right of this section, the number of poles plus number of 0 is 2, which is even. So it is not the section of the root locus. So it will not go in this direction. It will go towards right. Let's start with the problem. The open loop transfer function of a system is Gs equal to k divided by s into s plus 2, s square plus 2s plus 17. Draw the root locus of the system. So now let us try to solve the problem. First of all, poles. Number of. Let me clarify the poles and zeros of the system. What is poles? Poles are the values of s for which the value of Gs will be infinity. Suppose if s is equal to 0, for this particular problem, for s is equal to 0, the value of Gs is equal to infinity, and for the next factor, if s is equal to -2, the value of Gs is also infinity, and so on. These are the clarifications of pole. Now zeros. Suppose if numerator contains another factor, suppose s plus 1, then the values of s for which the value of Gs will be 0. Suppose for s is equal to -1, the value of Gs will be 0. So zeros will be at -1. So like this, what is poles and what is zero? Now for this particular problem, poles are located at 0, -2, -1 plus 4j and -1 minus 4j. So for this particular two poles, from where it will come? Now let us discuss these things. For this quadratic part, a square plus 2s plus 17, let us factorize the quadratic part. That is a square plus 2s plus 1 plus 16. Now s plus 1 whole square plus 16. Now s plus 1 whole square minus of minus 16. Now s plus 1 whole square minus of 4j whole square. This is equal to s plus 1 plus 4j, s plus 1 minus 4j. That is why the poles are at -1 plus 4j and -1 minus 4j. Now zeros. The number of zeros is nil because for this particular problem, numerator doesn't contains any factors. So that is why the number of zeros is nil here. So next, number of asymptotes. Is equal to number of poles minus number of zeros. So number of poles is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. And number of zero is nil. That is 0. So number of asymptotes is 4. Next, centroid. Sum of the poles minus sum of the zeros divided by number of poles minus number of zeros. That is, if we sum up the poles, we will get 0, minus 2, minus 1, minus 1, and 4g will be automatically cancelled, minus number of zeros, that is nil, divided by number of poles minus number of zeros, that is 4 minus 0. So now minus 4 divided by 4, that is minus 1. Centroid is located at minus 1. Now the angle of the asymptotes. For asymptote number 1, k equal to 1, k equal to 0, sorry. The angle is 2k plus 1 into pi divided by number of poles minus number of zeros, that is 4. That is equal to, if k equal to 0, then whole angle becomes pi by 4, that is 45 degree. Now for asymptote number 2, k equal to 1. Now 2k plus 1 into pi divided by 4, that is equal to, if k equal to 1 here, then 3 pi by 4, that is equal to 90 plus 45, that means 135 degree. For asymptote number 3, k equal to 2 here. Now 2k plus 1 into pi divided by 4, that is equal to 5 pi by 4. 5 pi by 4 means 180 plus 45, that is 225 degree. For asymptote number 4, k equal to 3 here. Now 2k plus 1 divided by 4 into pi, that is equal to 7 pi by 4, that means 7 pi divided by 4 means 315 degree. Now we have to draw the rough sketch of the root locus first. Now, rough sketch of the root locus for this particular problem. Rough sketch. Two axes is there. One is real axis, another is imaginary axis. Now, the location of poles. Poles are located at 0, minus 2, minus 1 plus 4j, minus 1 minus 4j. So rough sketch is important. Mind it, this is the rough sketch. This is not the final sketch. Rough sketch. Why rough sketch is important? Rough sketch is important here because without any rough sketch, we cannot predict what are the parameters the root locus contains. Now, this is minus 1 plus 4j. This is minus 1 minus 4j. Root locus always starts from its respective poles. So there are 4 poles here. So there will be 4 root locus. So the root locus which starts from 0, it will terminate at infinity because there is no 0 here. So the root locus which starts from this pole, it must terminate at 0. Whether it will go left side or right side towards infinity, that will be determined by the section analysis, what I have previously discussed. Now, for the section analysis, take the left hand side section of this pole. Now for this particular section, to the right of this section, the number of poles is 1 here. It is taken into account. 1. 1 means the number is odd. That is why it is section of the root locus. If it is not the section of the root locus, then root locus doesn't go in this direction. For this particular problem, it is the section of the root locus. So root locus must go in this direction. Now, for this pole, the root locus which starts from 2, whether it will go left side or right side towards infinity, that will also determined by the section analysis. Take the right hand side section of this real axis. So right hand side section, to the right of this section, the number of poles plus number of 0 is 2 here, because 1 and 1, that is 2. 2 here, 2 is even number, so that is why it is not the section of the root locus. So root locus never go in this direction, it will go in this direction. So now the collision will occur because 2 are coming face to face. So collision will occur. That collision is that collision when occurs, a breakaway will create it like this. So what will be the magnitude of the breakaway? We will find out later. Now for this particular probe, now let's draw the asymptote of the system. So centroid means the intersection points of the asymptote on the real axis. So previously we have determined the centroid point is -1, located at -1. So let's start from this point to draw the asymptotes. So for the first asymptotes, it makes an angle of 45 degree with the real axis. So try to draw the asymptotes which is 45 degree with the real axis, like a dotted line, like this. So from this property of symmetry, we can say another asymptote will must lie in like this. So it will makes an angle of 225 with the real axis. For the next asymptote, it makes an angle of 135 degree with the real axis. Now, draw the 135 degree angle, and the asymptote is like this. So, by the property of symmetry, last asymptote will lie in this direction. So, it must follow the symmetrical property. If you fold the total graph through this horizontal axis, now it will make a symmetry. So that is why the 4 asymptotes will be located like this. Now for this particular poles, which the root locus starts from the poles of -1 plus 4j, must follow the direction of the asymptotes towards the infinity, and also it must follow the direction of the asymptote to the infinity. And after breakaway, 2 parts of the root locus which terminates towards the infinity will go along this asymptote towards infinity, and this is along this asymptote towards infinity. This is the rough sketch of the total root locus. Now, what are the parameters occurs in this particular problem? So, for the first parameter is breakaway. The next parameter is imaginary axis cutting point. Imaginary axis cutting point and breakaway. And last of all, angle of departure. And what is angle of departure? Angle of departure. Now we have a rough sketch. This is our rough sketch, and already we have found out the angle of departure, that is plus 90 and minus 90, breakaway point -1, minus 1 plus 2.73j, minus 1 minus 2.73j, and imaginary axis cutting point, that is 2.91j minus 2.91j. With the help of these data and the rough sketch, we can finally come into the conclusion of final sketch. That is like this. This is the real axis, this is the imaginary axis. So poles are at 0 and minus 2. That is, it is clearly root locus is coming to face, that is breakaway will taking place, and that is equal to minus 1. At the point of minus 1, breakaway will taking place. So two parts will be there. One will be going this direction and other will be going this direction. But there are also two breakaway points is there, that is minus 1 plus 2.73j and minus 1 minus 2.73j. Now the angle of departure from pole minus 1 plus 4j, that is equal to minus 90. It is clear from this angle of departure the root locus will go in this direction, and from this property of symmetry, from this reference point minus 1 minus 4j, root locus will go in this direction. So another breakaway point will taking place at this point. These two root locus are coming face to face. So breakaway will takes place at the point of minus 1 plus 2.73j, and minus 1 minus 2.73j. So now the after a breakaway point at this point, so there will be two parts of the root locus. One will go to both the two parts will terminate at infinity, maintaining the direction of asymptotes. So let us draw the asymptotes first. Asymptotes are this. Two asymptotes are waiting for the root locus to show the direction towards infinity. So it will go in this direction and this will go in this direction, like this. This is your final sketch. So imaginary axis cutting point is here, and this is your imaginary axis cutting point. One is plus 2.91j, another is minus 2.91j. This is our normal graph paper. We will take 10 units of smallest square is equal to 1 unit here, because the whole graph will appear distinctly. So now let us draw the two mutually perpendicular axes. One is real axis, another is imaginary axis. So this is our vertical axis, imaginary axis, and let us draw the real axis, horizontal axis. It is our real axis. Now it is first quadrant, this is second quadrant, this is third quadrant, this is fourth quadrant. So mainly second quadrant and third quadrant, second and third whole picture will appear in the second and third quadrant. That is why this graph is drawn like this way. So now let us locate the poles. Poles are at 0, and this is 1. This is taken 2 smallest square is equal to 1 unit. If we will take, then this is 1, this is 2, it is a location of another pole, that is minus 2, this is 0. Now minus 1 plus 4j, this is j, this is 2j, this is 3j, this is 4j. So minus 1 plus 4j, that means pole is located here. Now minus 1 minus 4j, this is minus j, minus 2j, minus 3j, minus 4j. So minus 1, minus 4j, that means pole is here. So this is the location of 4 poles. Poles at 0, minus 2, minus 1 plus 4j, minus 1, minus 4j. Now the centroid is at minus 1. So this is your minus 1. So minus from this point, let's draw this is the intersection of the asymptote point, that is centroid point. Let us draw the asymptotes. So for first asymptotes, it makes an angle of 45 degree with the real axis. So now this is your protector. You can draw 45 degree angle with the horizontal plane like this. This is your 45 degree. That means direction of the asymptote will be like this. This is your first asymptote. Now for the second asymptote, it makes an angle of 135 degree with the horizontal. So this is your protector. Now let's draw 135 degree angle with the horizontal axis. Now 0. This is your 135 degree angle. So this is another asymptote. Asymptote marked at dotted line. Now the angle of 225 degree with the horizontal. So this is 180 degree now. 180 plus 45, that means this is your 225 degree. Now for the fourth asymptote, it makes an angle of 315 degree with the horizontal. So let's draw the angle of 315 degree with the horizontal. That is, by the symmetry it can be drawn without protector, that is like this way. This is your 45 degree. This is 135 degree. And 25 degree. 315 degree. Now the angle of departure. The direction, first of all, direction of the root locus from the real pole, that is, this is towards this way and this is towards this way. So breaker will takes place at -1 first. So now let us draw the angle of departure first. So this is your horizontal line. Angle of departure from pole -1 plus 4j is -90 degree. So this is -90 degree angle. So the root locus will go tangentially like this way, and this is your horizontal plane. So angle of departure from pole -1 minus 2j minus 4j is +90 degree. This is your +90 degree angle. So root locus will go tangentially like this way. Now for the breaker point, breaker will takes place at -1. So first of all, root locus will go in this direction, and next part in this direction. So another breaker will occur at -1. For the next two breaker point, that breaker at -1 plus 2.73j and minus 1 minus 2.73 j. There is minus 1, this is j, 2j, 2.73 j. This is your 2.5 j, 2.73 j, more or less in this position. So now minus 2 minus 1 minus 2.73 j, minus 1, this is j, 2j, 2.5, 2.7, more or less in this direction. So next breakaway will occur like this. After breaking, it will follow the direction of the asymptote, and this will follow the direction of the asymptote like this way. So this minus 1 plus 2.73 j and minus 1 minus 2.73 j. And imaginary axis cutting point, the value of the imaginary axis cutting points are plus 2.91 j. 2.91 j means this is 1, this is 1 j, this is 2 j, 2.5, 2.91 j means this. So it will be corrected like this way. So this is, if this is your imaginary axis cutting point, so root locus will go like this. This is minus 2.91 j. This is all about your root locus. This is all about your root locus.